Hey, welcome back and welcome to another winter ride out. Yes, this time on my Moto Guzzi V7, and this here bike being the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Special Edition. Yes, and for the uninitiated in all things Moto Guzzi, in the V7 range there's the V7 Stone, there's the V7 Stone Special, and there is the V7 Special. Hey, and there's the V7 Corsa, which is a cafe racer. Any road up. Yeah, so first ride out of 2024 to Squire's Cafe in Sherburn, and what I may well do is, because I've got to go through Tadcaster on this particular route, is nip into Eddie's Moto and have a look at some Royal Enfields and BSA Goldstars. Which brings me on to today's subject, which basically is, which is the best modern classic, which is the daddy of all the modern classic motorcycles. Now, to my mind, I can only really talk about 4 bikes, because they all need to occupy a similar bit of space, if you will. So I'm going to look at mid-range modern classics. It's a bit unfair on things like the classic 350 and the other Royal Enfield 350s and the new Triumph 400s, but I'm going to confine it to probably the more popular bracket, which is the mid-range area occupied by the hugely successful Royal Enfield Interceptor, this the Moto Guzzi V7, the BSA Goldstar, and the Triumph Bonneville T100. So all similar size, similar power, similar characteristics, similar appearance, dare I say it, and with the exception of the Triumph, similar price. And I suppose the only other slight exception to that grouping is this bike, the V7, on 2 counts. One, it does not sport a British motorcycle manufacturing name, but what of it? Number 2, this is a shaft drive bike and the other's a chain drive. So apart from the Triumph with its price, and apart from this bike with its Italiano name and its shaft drive, all 4 of those bikes are occupying, broadly speaking, more or less the same space. In terms of power, there are some slight differences in power, but not massive differences in power. So the Interceptor's 47 brake horsepower, the BSA Goldstar's 45 brake horsepower, the Triumph Bonneville, I believe, is something like 53 brake horsepower, and this here is a little bit more powerful. This particular model is 66 brake horsepower. It gets an extra brake horse thanks to the Arrow cans on the Stone Special that don't feature as standard on the other bikes. Right, any road up, and plus the fact that this isn't a 650, it's an 850, which in terms of cylinder capacity puts it more or less in the same ballpark as the Bonneville. So I think the thing that we need to look at fundamentally when it comes arriving to what is after all a purely personal opinion on which is the best modern classic in the mid-range category, we have to bear in mind, yes, it's a personal view, it's entirely subjective, and it will vary from person to person, and I am not blessed with any more received or conventional wisdom on the subject than any other old bugger. I just speak as a lover of modern classic motorcycles, albeit a little bit late to that particular party. I think, when did I get my Interceptor? That was my first real modern classic. I did have a Yamaha XJR 1300, which is arguably a bit of a modern classic. Interceptor, when did I get that? Must be about 2.5 years ago now, I would say. So I'm fairly late to the party in terms of ownership and riding, not in terms of admiration. But I think, like a lot of people, when the Interceptor came along in 2018 or thereabouts, it was so popular and it sold so well, it captured the imagination of a lot of people, you know, not just people of a certain age like me, but the hipster movement, which had previously been confined more or less to the Triumph range. Now please don't go unsubscribing because you own a Kawasaki Z900 RS or Z650 or any other sort of bike which could arguably be labelled modern classic. I tend to exclude inline 4s like the Z900 RS, because to my mind modern classic speaks to an era where the majority of bikes, not exclusively but the majority of bikes, particularly in Britain, were twins of one configuration or another. So this is a V-twin, transversely positioned, although some people would argue no, it's longitudinal, but whatever, you know what I mean. Sticky out cylinder position. The BSA, of course, is a single. It's a water-cooled single, which I think is equally fairly associated with the bygone era of British motorcycling. And of course the Royal Enfield Interceptor is a parallel twin with a 270-degree crank, giving it the characteristics of a V-twin, as indeed the Bonneville T100 parallel twin, 270-degree crank. So lots of similarities going on across the piece. So it comes back to the point that I just made, really, which is basically I think the driver for anybody arriving at a decision as to which of those bikes is the best for them is gonna be more about how the bike makes you feel. And how the bike makes you feel is about how it feels when you ride it, what emotions it brings out in you, and how you feel when you see it, what emotions it invokes in you at first sight. All these are the considerations which do indeed apply to probably any motorcycle but are significantly amplified, I would suggest, in relation to modern classics, because they are works of art. So the Interceptor, yeah, I mean, I own the Interceptor for just over a year. I had the Mark II Chrome, quite a few videos if you look back at my catalogue, if you like, back catalogue. That don't sound too pretentious. Cracking bike, absolutely loved it. Never let me down, not once, no issues whatsoever. I significantly accessorised it, as you do. But if I were to make a direct comparison between the Interceptor and this bike, excuse me, winter sniffles, if I were to make a direct comparison in terms of soul and rock and roll, and take out of the equation the fact that Royal Enfield is a name with an incredible history and legacy and provenance, dating way back in the days of successful British motorcycle manufacturing. Take that out of the equation because this is an Italian bike, but it speaks to the same sort of vintage provenance, if you like. The motor guts have been going a long time, so very, very faithful in that respect. But if I were to draw a direct comparison between the two, I mean, the first and most obvious thing is that this is 200cc bigger and 10 brake horsepower more. So that's a given, isn't it? But what I would say about the Interceptor, certainly with the stock exhausts on, it's not got quite the character of this bike or of the BSA Goldstar, and I'll come on to that. I'm probably gonna piss somebody off when I start talking about that Goldstar, but we'll come on to that. I hope they've got one at Eddie's to look at. I'm sure they have. In fact, I think their demonstrator that I took out back end of last year, if you want to have a look at that video, my BSA Goldstar review out of Eddie's, I think that one's up for sale, that demonstrator now. That's 500-600 mile on it. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, this bike's got a lot more character, and the BSA Goldstar's got a lot more character than the Interceptor has, in my opinion, out of the box, having ridden all of those bikes. Now, obviously, the Triumph Bonneville T100, which is much more expensive, and when you consider the Interceptor and the BSA Goldstar are both coming in round about £6,500–7,000 mark, depending. This just over £8,000 for this particular model, but you can pick the other models up for £7,500. But the Bonneville, the T100, starts at £9,500. It starts at that, so it's a good £3,000 more, certainly, than the Goldstar and the Interceptor. But I think it's fair to say you might, with some justification, observe that the fit and finish on the Triumph is to a higher standard, or certainly a higher visual aesthetic standard, than the other three bikes. However, for me, it's going to take more than that to press all of my vintage buttons. Way! But if that's your thing, yeah, but that's just a part of a much bigger equation when it comes to the overall riding experience on a modern classic, and what feelings it brings to the surface, if you like, when you ride it. So yeah, arguably, but all of the bikes pretty much look the same. They just look like classic motorcycles. They look like cartoon motorcycles, don't they? If you asked a kid to draw a motorcycle, You know, they're almost modular, these modern classics. You're talking 2 wheels, headlight, tank, seat, handlebars, aren't you? Basically, engine. So they're all in that same broad category of appearance, if you think about it, and because it's so very, very subjective, then which of those bikes, if you lined all 4 of them up together, would speak to you in terms of its inherent visual beauty? It would just depend on the viewer, wouldn't it? As is the case with all art. So we'll come on to what I think, which bike I think steals the show in that particular department. But I think that the Bonneville's downfall, if you're not massively into Triumph brand loyalty, and you're not massively into the very highest standards of fit and finish, the very highest standards of fit and finish, I think the Bonneville loses out at that price point, at that £9,500 price point, because it's not massively more powerful than the Interceptor and the Goldstar, and in terms of the overall riding experience, I can't imagine that it's significantly different. And whereas I've not personally actually ridden a T100, I've seen plenty up close, and in fact I went out with a subscriber of mine, pal of mine, Andy. Hope you're alright, Andy. On his T100, we went into the Trough of Bowland last year, late summer I think it was. Right, just had a chat with Kieran here, some interesting stuff. Here's the new Himalayan.
Put the Himalayan outside, that's right in way.
It's a good looking bike. Right, now this is interesting. Look at this Motor Guzzi police bike. Stradale 850 T5. Pretty much the same engine as my V7. What a cracker. And it's for sale, if you're into that sort of thing. And that's a new colour for the Interceptor from what I can see. Beautiful dark green. That's the same colour as my old classic 350. I've not seen that on an Interceptor, and it really does suit the bike. So if you are after an Interceptor and you like dark green, that is stunning. And here are the Goldstars, and here's something I need to let you know, because I just had a chat with Kieran. Any of the Goldstars he currently has in stock, so let's put it this way. If you were to buy a brand new BSA Goldstar, brand spanking new 2024 BSA Goldstar, say the all black one that you can get, you get a 2-year warranty with it, or a standard 2-year warranty. If you come to Weddies in Tadcaster and buy any of these Goldstars that he has in stock, you get a 4-year warranty. A 4-year warranty on the remaining stock of the BSA Goldstars here. And it's the same sort of warranty as the 2-year warranty. So that is well worth thinking about, isn't it? So yeah, Goldstar, there's the red one, the Legacy, the green one, another Legacy there, another green one, beautiful looking bikes, has to be said. Right, get yourself up here to Eddie's Moto in Tadcaster and just look at this fantastic range of truly classic bikes, not just modern classic bikes. No BMW R90 there, an old BMW R100 there, and lots of other classic bikes. It's a brilliant place. Get yourself up. Right then, yeah, there she is. The new Royal Enfield Himalayan. They're looking really smart in black and gold there. Really smart. But as I say, this is the demo bike that's going around the branches around the country, according to Kieran. So it'll be a month or two yet before they become available. But I imagine they'll do very well. What are they? Can't remember the price point. About £4,500, is it? 4,500 to 5,000. Yeah. Onwards. It's a beautiful day. Right, so what do I think the best modern classic in this particular category we've been discussing is? And the winner is in my opinion, the winner is the Goldstar. And every time I look at a BSA Goldstar, this might just be me, but I just think that bike is without doubt the most faithful modern classic to be had on two counts. Number one, how it looks. Number two, what it feels like. And so there we go. And I bet you thought it were going to be this bike, wouldn't you? But that's not necessarily what it's about at the end of the day. But I do think if our terms of reference are best modern classic in this sort of mid-range category, personally I think it's the Goldstar. Yay! And if you're an Interceptor fan, or a W800 fan, or a Kawasaki fan, or a, you know, don't shoot me down in flames, each unto their own is the name of the game. Each unto their own. Right, hope you enjoyed that little chautauqua on the way to Squires here. I've just met a subscriber of mine at Squires here. Jerry, lovely to meet you, buddy. Ride safe. Great to meet you and have a quick chat. And yeah, loving this bike to bits. Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Special. Love the looks, love the way it rides, love its character, love the way it sounds. Brilliant bike, these. If you like your modern classics, then this has got to be on your shortlist. Albeit that I've just said that I think the best of the bunch is the BSA Goldstar 650. But I still hold to that view. I think they're a fantastic bike. When it comes to modern classics, I think they're unbeatable. But that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. But this bike, yeah, fantastic. I mean, I've only just done, what, about 90 miles on it. So far, so good. Absolutely flawless.
and a beautiful bit of kit. Yeah, so from me and the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Special Edition, ride safe, be kind, and I'll catch you on the next one. Toodle pip, and I'll see you.